Hi everyone. I just wanted to go over the expectations for next week, week 3, where we will be giving our article critiques and also talking a little bit more about assessment and the legal ramifications of special education assessment. So on Monday at our next class, we will be doing a Zoom. We're going to hear about 2 disability handouts where people will share them online. Then we're going to present, each group is going to present their article critique, and you will be expected to take notes on the article critique because it's part of your activity 3. Then we will talk a little bit about assessment procedures and expectations for IEPs, sorry. And then I will go over the online module expectations. So of course you've got the Zoom link. I have 2 IEP videos, part 1 and part 2. The pre-referral assessment project or activity. And I condensed the IRIS module, so you don't actually have an IRIS module to do. I condensed it in the support place for that. I'll show you that in one moment. And then of course activity 3, and then we will go over what's next. So some of the key concepts that we're going to talk about is prevention. So one way to prevent over-representation of certain groups in special ed is to start your assessments early and also support students with evidence-based strategies and whatnot. So then we've got the high expectations and accountability. A lot of times people think that with students who are struggling, we need to lower our expectations. Whereas in actuality, it's better to raise our expectations and then also increase the amount of support that we're giving. And of course, we all need to be accountable for what it is that we're doing within our teaching practices to support all students. Another big piece is the evidence-based practices, which we will be talking about this semester, and increasing the inclusiveness of our schools. I just spelled out here, and so you can revisit this if you want to, but this is right from your book on, what the special education teacher's job is, and it's managing and coordinating around IEPs, it's collaborating with everyone, it's managing the paraprofessional's schedule and duties, it's direct and indirect instruction, it's consultation with the student, the schools, the teachers. I didn't put teachers in there. And it's assessment and progress monitoring, it's problem solving issues for the students on their caseload and making sure that they're getting their legal supports, and it's also completing whatever their specific duty is as a teacher. For general ed teachers, of course, you are teaching content, using multiple strategies and supplemental materials. You're identifying students who you suspect might need some additional supports, and then you're documenting all of the things that you're doing with them and how they're doing. Attempting recommended interventions, progress monitoring, and also teaching the student to work with different support services. This is on page 42 of your textbook, and it talks about some things that you can do inside your classroom to work with, like, for example, paraprofessionals, and what they can do to support you as well. And then I went through the related service providers. There's a lot of people who might come in and have different positions around meeting the special ed needs of the students, and so I just listed them all out there, so that's also in your book. So I won't spend too much time on there. And then, of course, the pre-referral system, which we were talking about, starts with universal screening, interventions and strategies, and reflecting on the progress monitoring. I do like on page 50, they went through and they talked about RTI and intensity. So, the frequency of the intervention, the duration of the intervention, the location of the intervention, group size, and types of intervention. So these are all things you want to think about as you're making a plan. So let's just quickly go over the way that this week's is set up. So as I mentioned, that's the task list. So how the order I expect you to do the activities in. So of course, first showing up to class on Monday online, listening to your colleagues present, taking notes on what they're presenting. Second is watching these two videos. They're both fairly short, and it just goes over the basic IEP information, and then this one is a sample IEP. And it's just really good to get to know kind of what they look like. The IEP is not perfect, but it is at least a way for you to see how most of the IEPs in the state look, because they're all from this program called SACE. This is the pre-referral activity. I'd like you to work on that. And as I told you, I took the hour and a half IRIS module out of your responsibilities this week, but I made a less than 15-minute video on the pre-referral process using the website. So I pulled out all the main information. At the very end, there's a 3-minute and 30-second video to kind of wrap the whole thing up from Professor Compton from Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is one of the places where they create the IRIS modules. So you can listen to that, and that also just kind of reinstates the importance and the steps and stages of the pre-referral process. So once you have all of that done, you've got your textbook, you've got the Yetters article, you've got the IRIS module on the pre-referral system, then I want you to come up with 10 best practices that you heard of in that video, and then I want you to compare that list with either your school site, or if you aren't at a school site or you're at many school sites, either select one of the school sites you're at, or if you need to contact me and I need to connect you with a teacher to ask them about their pre-referral process at their school, I can do that. But you're going to basically write a comparison. So list out all of the pre-referral best practices, and then you're going to say whether the school that you chose actually meets those and fulfills those best practices. And then activity 3, let me just see if I can get this up a little bit further. Activity 3 is, let me see, this should help. There's 5 questions this week, and you're supposed to use your textbook, the online IEP modules, the pre-referral activity, including the Yetters article, your readings, class discussions, and support video, and then your own experience to answer these questions. So why are high expectations and accountability important when working with diverse learners? 2 is the pre-referral process activity. On that, I want you to describe at least one big idea you took from the readings, video, and activity you completed for the pre-referral process activity. How will you use this in your practice? So what's the big takeaway from the pre-referral process, and why am I going over it to nauseam? And then from the textbook and the IEP online videos, what are 3 important takeaways from watching the videos and reading about the IEPs in your textbook? Have you worked with any students with the IEPs? What was your experience? And then for the article critique presentation, I want you to give the main idea of each of your peers' article critiques. So just in 1 or 2 sentences, what was the main idea of their article? And then how will you use this information in your teaching? And then the final question is a feedback question. And how do you like the textbook so far? Is it supporting your understanding of working with diverse learners? And of course, this is due on the 12th. This is also due on the 12th. And so you would need to do these other pieces beforehand. For this next week, and I will add the article here. Okay, magic. It's all of a sudden there. So I want you to read chapter 4 out of Friend and Bursic, and then I want you to read the SIOP chapter 6, and I've attached it right here. And we'll be talking about it next week. And then I want you to complete the pre-referral activity and complete activity 3. So that is all of the things that are due by the 12th. If you have any questions, I'm of course here to support and help you in any way I can. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you at the Zoom meeting.